Welcome to this TNT's Brit Wres Special Preview for Monday Night Catch Pro Wrestling as we look ahead to Monday Night Catch Pro on the 7th of November at the Bred Shed in Manchester. The show features NXT UK superstars Rampage Brown returning to action. Lizzy Evo defends her Catch Women's title. 4 more matches for the second ever Catch Enygma Series. Plus the Catchweight title will be on the line as Kessler defends. To help me preview this incredible show, I'm joined by Catch Pro owner Scotty. How are we doing?
I'm very well. Excited for Monday. Can't believe it's this close. I think I said earlier on it's going to be here sooner than Mariah Carey's All I Want for Christmas at this rate. It's just around the corner.
Excellent, because I'm not surprised. It looks like it's a fantastic card, and I love the amount of women's matches you've got on, and that's something we'll be discussing a little bit later about Catch Pro's commitment to women's wrestling. I guess since you started, you guys have had so many. You produce. This is the second all women's tournament that you've had, but you've always got to make sure that you've always had females on your card, which is fantastic to see. Rampage Brown returning, I mean, huge. And that's going to be a great match. We'll reveal his opponent in just a short while. Just so many more great things to talk about. But I kind of want to get on to, because the first ever show you guys ran was back in February 2020. Yep. Is that right? Yeah. And that was the first ever Great British Heritage Cup. And then you had to wait a year and a half to actually run your second show. So kind of just tell us what it was like from that first show to the second show. I'm guessing a lot of stress, a lot of...
Yeah, I mean, so the obviously the idea with the Great British Heritage Tournament originally was, we had Fleisch and Williams and the rest of them booked on the show, and we're going to call it the Great British Heritage Tournament. And they weren't in the tournament, and they were going to get offended. And how can this be a heritage tournament when the heritage? And that was the whole kind of idea behind that. Unfortunately, something happened, and we had to cancel the second show. It was quite short notice. I think it was scheduled on possibly the Sunday, and I think we ended up pulling it on the Tuesday because we got word. Obviously, it wasn't safe. And then 18 months, and by the time we start coming back, we've got other plans, and it's we want to kind of kick into the second heritage tournament because we wanted to make it. The plan was 2 tournaments every year, 1 male, 1 female, and we're going to swap and change them. So you have the Enigma Series, all women 1 year, heritage, all women, all men the same year, women swap and change. And it just kind of, God, it was so stressful. All the promo had gone out. I think we lost nearly £700 on that show because it got cancelled. And I'll forever be grateful to, like, so many people just said, like, well, we don't want refunds because we want to support you. We'll see you in 18 months. And I'll be eternally grateful for that, because it would have, there's just no way we could have afforded to come back if we had to pay all that out after paying, because that's the problem with independent companies. When you're getting started off, you've got, you try to start off with a bank, some money. This is the money that's for this show. And it's just, I think when we worked it out, it was like, it was like 270 quid if we hadn't have had money in the savings to sort of pay off. But it was like, promo had gone out, the posters had gone out, all the paid ads and stuff like that, deposits, that we didn't get back, deposits for a venue. So it's just, God, it seems so long ago as well now. It's insane. But
yeah, because we're now 1 year on from your return. Just over 1 and a bit, because there's you've had Catch 3, and then you started the Monday night Catch shows. You've also put on a Catch 4 and a Catch 5. But let's talk about the switch up to actually going to Monday night Catch Pro, and what was kind of like the decision based behind that.
So the decision to do the Monday shows was like, I'm here in the Bred Shed at the moment doing this, and I work here. and I've worked here on and off for 15 years. I used to work behind the bar when I was back at uni. I've come back and done DJing nights and 80s nights and stuff, and I've always had a sort of hand in here. And with the Quizioki every Thursday at the Bred Shed, and other stuff like that, I've got a lot of ties in. The room was always just big enough, so I always just wanted to do something here because I wanted my own venue, I wanted my own unique look in terms of the. Do you remember the very first Monday Night Raw shows where they all had, they all had that look? You turned it on, you knew you wasn't watching a Nitro. You knew what the show was because of the way it looked and stuff. So I really wanted to focus heavily on, a venue that hadn't been used before, and I had the perfect venue. It's small, but it's cozy and it's got a massive disco ball, which Scotty Rock nearly takes out every time he's here. But that was essentially the decision. I wanted to come up with a show that you could, if someone put on a television show, if somebody put on a wrestling show on their screen, they'd just be like, "That's the Bred Shed, that's Catch."
Excellent. And of course, we mentioned at the start about your dedication to women's wrestling, but we can't also highlight the fact that your dedication to young talent from the local area and giving them a platform. You do have some great schools around you, so can you talk about working with these schools?
So in terms of the younger wrestlers, it was just kind of a case of I've seen them at shows. I've seen them at shows. I just knew how good they were. Like, I mean, I've said the first time I saw Tom Felwell, he went for like 3 pin attempts in the first 30 seconds. I was sat there like, this guy looks like he wants to win a wrestling match. It's amazing. And, we've got some, great schools, as you say, around here. LWF and Future Shock in particular are just, that's where you want to go if you want to be a wrestler. Don't stay there. Go out, go travel to Drake, learn some stuff from Drake and all the other schools in there. But if you want to be a pro wrestler, this is kind of the area for you, I think.
There's so much talent coming out of there, including Northwest Strong. I think you've been the only promotion that's really actually had every member of Northwest Strong in amongst your roster.
Right, that's interesting. Yeah, I hadn't noticed that. So just fantastic. Again, they kind of come from the Future Shark PC, and there are a certain group of wrestlers that obviously Chris Ridgway is working with, and the Ridgway Ethan Allen match is kind of what put us on the map in that sort of sense. It was like we just had to get it out straight away because we wanted people to sort of see, like, we're trying to push a sport orientated wrestling program. And that was just, it's close to poetry as you're going to get in a wrestling ring. It was just two guys. I can't wait to do the sequel.
Because you've had the initiation of 2-Bit in the ring, and I think was Rio also initiated in the ring as well?
Possibly. That's an interesting question. First time I ever saw her with Northwest Strong, it was at a Catch show, but
yes, and then of course Scott Oberman, Joe Kessler. And you just had the whole range of them on. I think the only program elsewhere would be This is Progress.
Yeah,
I honestly think, because Chris Ridgway, he's been quite heavily featured throughout, and so have Northwest Strong. So let's talk about the opening. Well, one of the big matches. Joe Kessler, Northwest Strong's Joe Kessler, defending his Catchweight Championship against Dynamite Lee, who has gotten so over with that local Manchester Bred Shed crowd, and I think partly due to the way he's been portrayed, and a fantastic performer.
So this match, again, it's a rematch from the first Enigma series. It's very important to Catch to sort of redo this match because it's, Dynamite Lee's pinned Joe Kessler in the match. He's won a 6-man tag against him, and he's been in a 6-man tag that's won against him, as it were. I don't think he got the pin. If I'd have to go back and watch the video, but we'll leave that to Tom Bowler. But it's important because I want continuity in that sense, and I want. It's just like Dynamite Lee. I can't. You've got to sort of if you need to have the Dynamite Lee experience, and it's the same with Joe Kessler. Like when the first time he came walking out with the Cyber Slayer gimmick, I remember being in there for a photo shoot with him, and just you can see it. You can see the change in his not only his demeanor, but like kind of the way he carries himself. You like Kessler's found himself. You know, if there's you need you need promo skills, you need the wrestling skills, you need these skills, that skills, and he's got them all now. He's got everything that you need to be, a great pro wrestler. And if people are missing out on Joe Kessler, they're missing out. They really are.
And he's kind of the powerhouse member of Northwest Strong in amongst a lot of great technical wrestlers. Luke Jacobs, of course, big guy himself, but I think Kessler's going to be huge once he gets in a few more years, isn't he?
It's if you kind of look at Northwest Strong as if they were a traditional stable and they were like I don't know, maybe a Four Horsemen's a good example. Luke Jacobs is very much the what's his name? His name's completely gone out of my mind now. Because I nearly said Larry Zbysko, so now I'm thinking again. Who's
On.
No, so I'd say Kessler was on. Kessler was the enforcer, and Tully Blanchard. That's who was getting at. I think the skills and the meanness. I can see him. I could see them that way. That's kind of how I see them.
Now, Senna is a name that I've seen popping up a lot very recently. I would love to know much more about him. He seems very mysterious.
I genuinely think you're going to find out a lot more about Senna as time comes up. Senna was a name that was mentioned to me by a few people, and I kind of hadn't seen him, so I went out my way to go and check a match out. And I dropped him a message that night and said, like, I spent the 7 minutes watching your match, and I've got plans for you now if you're interested. And it's intriguing because he didn't get to have his match at the last Catch show. He was attacked by Scott Oberman. Don't know what Scott Oberman's problem is. I don't know what he's getting at. But he's challenging him. You see, he said to Scott Oberman, "Doors open, mate. Come and walk in, and let's have a scrap. See what happens."
Yes.
I suspect Scott Oberman might turn up.
Yeah, he's got a brand new attitude, does Scott Oberman, and he's dropped. He took some time away, for whatever reasons he needed to take time away. He's come back recently, and he seems a little different than what he used to be. Yeah. And it's going to be very interesting to see what this new Scott Oberman not only brings to Catch, but to Northwest Strong as well.
Yeah, very much so, because it's strange because with the Northwest Strong, the way they kind of go in is like people have learned the skills now, and they're coming away and finding themselves like Joe Kessler did, and people are going to see the success Joe Kessler I suspect is going to have, and you can tell they're going to start bringing a bit more to themselves.
Now let's get on to the Enigma series. Now you've got Block A and Block B matches on this show, 4 matches in total. But let's talk about our first series of Enigma series. It was the male version, as you mentioned, won by Tom Farewell. Fantastic performance. And that was for the Catchweight champion originally.
That was the inaugural. Yeah, so we crowned the champion at the because again I wanted. Because obviously we've got the 3 titles, and the Enigma series is because of what it kind of means to us, and where the idea for this belt came from, and in terms of the design and such. It was the Enigma series is going to be the Catchweight. Is going to be associated with that for us as long as we go forward. So that's why the winner of this year's is going to get a Catchweight title shot as well.
Yes, because your Catchweight belt is actually an intergender belt. It can be challenged for by both men and women, which is fantastic, especially when you've got performers like Rio, Emersyn Jayne, Alexis Falcon, Lizzy Evo, who can scrap just as hard as any of the men in the current wrestling landscape of the UK. Alexis Falcon has a mystery opponent.
Yeah, so she told us last month it doesn't matter. I don't even want to know. And I don't know where the arrogance is coming from, but it's, she's turned around and says to us, I don't need to prepare for them. So we're happy to, you know, play into that, see how it goes.
Yeah, she's had a long history with attitude problems towards Catch Pro. I don't know if it's the influence of JJ Webb, maybe, but Alexis does have a mind of her own.
I think JJ is more led astray by Alexis, but that's just my, personal. It's like in the second show when that match with Chantel, it was going great, and then she had to use the bum bag, didn't she, and fake an injury and get me in lots of trouble.
Just one of my favorite series of matches, actually, that Chantel Jordan and Alexis Falcon.
I know.
It's a great series. Now, there hasn't been a Block A match yet. She's part of Block A. On the other side of Block A, you've got Emersyn Jayne versus Lana Austin. Sorry, superstar Lana Austin. She has really become the superstar of British women's wrestling right now. What do you think of her chances in this tournament?
Lana's or Emersyn's, sorry.
Lana on this one at the moment.
Lana, the world's the oyster for Lana. Again, I don't know if people sort of give Lana the credit that she's deserved in terms of the way she helps other people and younger wrestlers. And don't tell her I said this, but people go to her and the amount of people that she trains on behalf of the Future Shock. Lana's bringing up the next generation of women's wrestlers for us, and again, she just a switch just went off, and it was she decided to stop being selfless and start being a bit selfish, and it's working for her.
It certainly is. But Emersyn Jayne is going to be absolutely no pushover. She ranked at number 35 in the PWI's Women's 150 recently. So congratulations, Emersyn Jayne, on that. She has to be one of the toughest and most technical wrestlers in the UK right now.
Yeah. So I've been traveling up to Edinburgh to watch Discovery Wrestling over there because mainly because Emersyn Jayne's I wanted to see you've obviously got to see people in person to see I miss wrestling. It's a weird thing, but I miss wrestling because I end up watching the crowd now to see instead of actually watching the matches a lot of times to kind of judge reactions and such. But I'm familiar with Emersyn Jayne, and I'm really excited to finally get her down to Manchester to do some stuff for Catch. She's so good.
Absolutely. Now, we've only got 3 members of the A block right now, but if you were to stick your hat out there and pick who you think might tip, who do you think might come on top?
I wish I had any idea. It's just the collection of women that we've got for these 2 blocks in terms of just the way the matches are. It can go either way. Just the 7 names that we know is just an unreal, just the collection of talent that's going to be in the Bred Shed on Monday is I get this weird thing where I don't want to work the shows anymore because it's sort of when I finally see the cards, I'm just like, fuck, I wish. Sorry about my language. I just sit there saying I wish somebody else would have put this on so I could have gone and sat down and watched it with a beer. Don't want them responsibilities, but yeah, I can't wait to see. I can't wait to see what they've got.
I think they're going to be excellent matches. And then we've got the Block B matches. Riho, who has already competed and has 2 points to her name after a win, versus Lucia Lee, who picked up a loss in her first opening match. And we've got Ivy, who again has 2 points versus Harley Hudson with no points currently. But Lucia Lee and Harley Hudson, talk about 2 of the youngest, brightest talents in the UK right now.
Lucia Lee, we've been fans of for a long time, and since we came back, we've kind of been firmly testing Lucia Lee's metal, as it were. She made it off the pre-show, and she's ready to step up and start taking some belts. As far as Harley Hudson's concerned, again, I see her all the time at these shows, and I see it's that weird. Like, I don't know if it's weird, but like for some reason in the Bred Shed, everything's different. Like Harley Hudson's beloved in the Bred. Like everyone understands how good she is and how talented she is. People go nuts for her. It's wonderful. You see her at other shows, and people just don't seem to get it. This is Harley Hudson's world. And it's gonna be anyway. She's told me so.
She is the Scouse Mouse powerhouse. She is an absolute firecracker and very powerful young small lady. Lucia Lee, very different. She is a hard-hitting brawler to the likes of a Lizzy Evo, very vicious at times. Rio, Northwest Strong, breaking out all over the country, over in Japan.
Yeah.
She is one of, if there's a breakout women's star of 2022, it is Rio, in my opinion. She has really stepped up another level and she is everywhere right now. What a superstar.
Yeah. Like it, and there's no sex or gender about it. Like Rio is the breakout superstar of 2022. I don't think anyone can touch the performances that she's put on in Catch and in any other company that I see her in. You know, Rio's become the kind of name that you buy a ticket because you see the name is on, and it's just gonna keep going.
From the moment she steps out onto that, past that curtain, it is just she has that presence that some people may struggle with, but she absolutely has it. Ivy has been around for a few years. She can be deceitful. She can be a bruiser, and she is the mother of monsters. What do you mean? She's been a constant threat throughout Catch's history.
Ivy is another one that I was a fan of before I started putting the shows on, and I knew I wanted Ivy on the show. The title match against Rio was one of my favorite matches of the Monday night shows, and obviously, you know, with Lucia getting involved, and kind of didn't end the way Rio would have wanted it to, but she's going to have the opportunity to do something about that this week. But Ivy's great again in terms of somebody who's like, you know, not quite hit the peak yet, because there's still plenty more. Like with Ivy, she's just getting better every time you see her. But people like ZZ and the people that are getting, because you know that's going to be somebody who's going to be coming up soon. It's just, she's just great to have on a show because like people respect Ivy a lot, and they'll behave around Ivy.
I 100% agree. Yes, it's that bat. You can tell it's dangerous. I've heard it hit the floor. Yeah. It makes a big. You have had a long history of, as I say, working and representing women's wrestling, making sure you've got several matches on shows, not just one match, or you've got women involved in several matches, even if they're intergender. Was that always going to be a core point for you guys?
It was, because I really want my goddaughter to like wrestling. I really want to be able to kind of share some with my goddaughter, and because our photographer is my best friend, was the best man at his wedding. Like I've known him for years. He's always been a talented photographer, but he's never understood how good he is with a camera. So it took me like a while to kind of force him to be, you know, I need you to come and do this for me. And you know, I know one day she's gonna look at these pictures that her old man's taken. She'll be like, you know, what's this? Like that, the best one he ever did was the sort of Heidi Katrina one, and she can see Athena seeing that and being like, this is really cool. What's this? And then kind of going from there. And that's basically, you know, it's I just want it to be accessible to everybody in that sort of sense. And that's with the catch weight. Like it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter your gender. It doesn't matter your weight, your size. I just want everybody to kind of go for it. And wrestling for everyone.
Yeah, absolutely. Wrestling is 100% for everyone, and everyone can choose what they like and what they don't like. But there's more wrestling to like than there is to dislike in reality. Now you mentioned another women's match, incredible Lizzy Evo. Honestly, I'm outraged that she didn't make the PWI 150.
It's crazy that,
I
isn't it?
think that is ridiculous.
It's I almost went to Twitter on that one, but like that's kind of we'll leave it. Part of me is kind of glad she didn't. In that now she's going to have a chip on her shoulder, and it's ridiculous. And fingers crossed, it's like the Lizzy Evo that last year when I said this is the best women's wrestler in the world. Could you imagine like the best women's wrestler in the world with a chip on her shoulder? So
absolutely,
part of me is like genuinely offended, like how that slipped through the net. But part of me is kind of like, this might be a good thing for the British wrestling scene.
It's just, yes, if Lizzy can find another gear, I mean, Jesus, just how great she would be. Yeah, she is 100% one of the best in the world right now, and there is no doubt about that. And I went to it on the roundup we recorded yesterday. It's going to be released today, and yeah, we went down on a few people we thought should have been mentioned within the 150. I think the UK got overlooked just a little bit.
Yeah.
And I think unfairly so, because most of our big promotions are as big as some of the bigger Japanese promotions.
Yeah,
so I don't, and the talent we have right now, and I think you could easily say there are at least 100 active women's wrestlers in the UK right now. I'm not saying every 100 should be on there, but there should at least be, I think, between 20 and 30 of the UK scene on there. I think it's a bit hard done there.
You look at the countries where kind of wrestling's popular, and they like, America's pretty much 50 times the size of the UK. And, with all due respect to our, American counterparts, the amount of wrestling and talented people we've got in this little island in comparison to what you guys have got across 50 states. I'll you know what I mean? There's some fantastic, amazing American wrestlers. Some of the Japanese are the best wrestlers I've ever seen. But I'll put a Lizzy Evo up against half of them. A Rio, Chris Ridgway, just like maybe not Charles Crowley, but
even Charles Crowley. He's great character, and even he is so great in the ring as well. And I think he's one of these guys who gets lost. Tate Mayfair's is another one. Yeah. So great person, characters, but so great in the ring as well. Lizzy Evo, she's going to be defending her women's championship against one of the another one of the rising stars of 2022. She's exploded across the UK, particularly in the south, but along with you guys over in that northwest scene as well. I would like to see her in more places. She's phenomenal. She is Chantel Jordan. Hoping that she's okay at the moment. I realize.
Yes, we are in conversation with Chantal at the moment about what's happened. She seems in really good spirits. I'm really happy to know. But we're going to sit down on Thursday and have a discussion about whether, because I personally don't want to put her in the ring if she's not 100%.
That is 100% fair.
Unfortunately, I've had to kind of pull matches before because our medic's taken a look at people and said this isn't, it's not the time to be going in the ring. But that side, Chantal, like, what can you say? Like, she's like, oh God, she's got to be half my age, and she's just some people just get it, just get it. As soon as she walks through the curtain, this is you're there to experience something like how business has picked up, as the old saying goes. Like, it's gonna be so good, and most wrestlers don't reach the peak till they're 30. So just imagine the ride that we're going to go on.
I can't wait to see Chantel Jordan go over to Stardom or TJPW at some point, because she has to. She is really just about breaking out now onto some of the biggest, and it's fantastic to see. Hopefully she does recover well. We won't go into details of what happened, but as I say, she is recovering from an injury, we'll say that, and hopefully she'll be back in the ring soon, and hopefully at this Monday night Catch Pro.
Yeah.
Let's talk about another guy who's actually just returning from injury. He's had a long layoff since his match against Ilya Dragunov, which was it last year now?
Yeah, I think it was. Because it's been a long time.
Yeah, I think it was only just when they were having fans back, the former NXT UK now, of course. But he picked up a freak injury in a championship match against Ilya Dragunov. I believe he just returned to the ring very recently at TNT Extreme. He's got another show, but he's making his way to Catch Pro, Leeds native, Northwest native. One of the best wrestlers to have ever laced the boots in British wrestling, especially when it comes to heavyweights.
Yeah.
Rampage Brown, he's been a trainer of so many more incredible performers, including Rio, I believe, was first trained by Rampage Brown, and G. Adams, another one. How great is it going to be to have Rampage?
Oh, so this has been, I've wanted to book Rampage for since the inception. When I did the Jesse Wolf Lycos 2 match, it was I wanted to book a match that I was like, it was one of my favorite matches from before I decided to put on shows. I love that match. I want to do it, and this is the same. The Brady Rampage. It's just it's unreal how good a Rampage is, and for him to finally, because I was mithering him. I've been mithering him so much, being like, come on, please, just come down and do a match. And he's like, all right, let me check with my boss is. He's very, receptive and great to sort of work with, and very open, honest communication with between us both. And it's just like so good. Like, I can't even explain how, as a figurehead of the British wrestling scene, this guy is just unreal. This is the benchmark of British wrestling.
Yeah, I don't think there is
write that one down. That I like that.
But I like that benchmark of British wrestling. Yeah, I don't think there is a major promotion in the UK that Rampage hasn't competed in and held a top title in. His impact on the scene is just incredible. As you say, he's one of those guys that really helped keep the scene going when it almost died. He's one of those guys that really helped do that, and then bring it back as well. Or, it wasn't just he held it together. He was part of the team that brought it back. Guys like Nathan Cruz, Mark Haskins, and some guys we don't want to mention. He is. Yeah, I can't wait to see him back in the ring for you guys. And Brady Phillips, is he a student of Rampage as well?
I believe he has taught he has learned under him. He has been a pupil of his, but I don't know. I might have to ask Brady. I might have to ask Brady specifically about whether he started with Rampage.
But let's talk about Brady Phillips, another talent that's kind of really exploded. I'm surprised I never heard of him before I saw him, but first time I saw him was at a Catch Pro show. It was his match against Chris Ridgway.
Yeah.
Jeez, just how good. I mean, for a guy his size to be technically sound as he is as well, it really does show a lot.
Yes, very, very much like Rampage. I feel to sort of tie the two together. Rampage, I very much feel was a victim of the fact that there was one big company in America for so long. Like if you still had your ECWs, your WCWs, he'd have been over there. And Ridgway is the kind of, he picked up the torch in terms of this big heavyweight that is like just can do everything. And maybe he sort of came along just after the the NXT UK stuff, and how how can you be like Bruce Pritchard or anyone and just look at Brady Phillips and just be like, I'm not going to sign this guy today.
I mean, he's about 6 foot tall, and say got good size to him, all muscle as well. We're not talking about someone who's got lots of fat. He's pretty much all muscle. Handsome young man as well. I'm not gonna lie. He's he's got so many attributes that just has star written all over him. I think you guys have really helped to elevate him. He's done particularly that match with Ridgeway and a few of the other matches he's had for you guys. And this is going to be for the Greater Manchester Athletic Commission Championship, the GAMC. Tell us about that championship.
Oh, so look at like I was informed last year that we've been bought by a company. So it was good to know. It was good to find out sort of after the fact. And when I've kind of realised that I had no idea what anyone was talking about, I thought, all right, let's turn this into a little kind of an angle. So so it's just it was a good way for me to sort of, because I love Japanese wrestling. I love the way they'd have the IWGP and the the Noah belts and all the All Japan Triple Crown and stuff. So I just kind of wanted to feel with that, because I love going to shows, but the world heavyweight champion never really sort of sat right with me personally. When we've got 80 companies in the UK and they've all got a world heavyweight champion, so I just kind of wanted to just do something a bit different, because as I say, it was kind of an ode to the fact that I kind of like the Japanese, and it kind of gives me a feel like there's kind of something a bit bigger than us. And it's just there's a Great Manchester Music Committee, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna have that, and to take just obviously just swap. The athletics kind of gives it, if it was a wrestling belt,
sport,
the IBF, it's more of a sport feel, and that's kind of what I want to go with. Like when we said the Enigma Series matches are going to have like 15-minute time limits, and kind of put rules in place to kind of keep them a bit sportier, because I like Ring of Honor as well, so I like kind of the stuff that they did. I like I love the sporty types, and I love the story types of wrestling matches, because it's like if you're any kind of individual, the wrestling has something for you. And I just kind of want to put out what I like about professional wrestling, the stuff that keeps me going back, and hopefully people will kind of pick up on that and be like, yeah, I kind of feel the same way. And that's basically just the idea between the belt. And I just basically in summary, I just wanted something that felt a bit bigger than us. And
no, I really like that. I like the Greater Manchester. As you say, it does make the belt feel a little bit different. I remember somebody once told me, you shouldn't call your title a world title unless you've had that belt defended in 3 separate countries. Now, I don't know how much of a wrestling rule that is. It's just something I remember being told. I can't remember even who mentioned it to me, but they were just like, it's not a world title unless it's being defended in 3 different countries. It's an interesting concept.
I love that. I do, because this is the this is the pleasure. This is the beauty of wrestling, because it means different things to different people. But like, you can sit and have a conversation about this daft, like, because I don't want to speak ill of people who get passionate about wrestling, because I get passionate about wrestling. But when you boil it down to it, it's people play fighting in their undies, and we love it. Let's just enjoy it. And just have these weird discussions where we just make these headcanons up, and like and that's my take on it. And I don't claim to be correct, but this is the experience and the perspective that I have. And I just just want to see people that are really good at professional wrestling going out and doing really good professional wrestling.
That's it, absolutely 100%. I love pro wrestling. I love sports-based pro wrestling as well, because I feel that wrestling is supposed to be a sport. So sometimes having a more sporty feel, I think, really adds to a product. Yes, I do love story-driven wrestling. Yes, I love a bit of hardcore wrestling, definitely. But wrestling is for everybody, and there's ways for everybody to enjoy it. And as I say, so many great matches. Let's just go through one more time. Joe Kessler versus Dynamite Lee for the Catchweight Championship. Senna has sent an open challenge to Scott Oberman. You've got the E-Series Block A matches. Alexis Falcon versus a mystery opponent, and the final entrant for the Enigma Series, Emersyn Jayne versus Lana Austin. Block B matches, Rio versus Lucia Lee. Ivy versus Harley Hudson, the women's championship match, Lizzy Evo versus Chantel Jordan, plus Rampage Brown versus Brady Phillips for the GAMC championship. That's an absolutely stacked card. I don't know what's going to steal the show most.
You can get all that for £17.50.
I'm
catchprowrestling.co.uk.
I love it. Yeah, catchprowrestling.co.uk. Get your tickets, £17.50. Bred Shed, Manchester. Is there anything else you'd like to discuss today? No, your next show going to be in December, isn't it? Following.
Yeah, it's not confirmed to be All I Want for Catchmas Is You, but it's been suggested to me. But yeah, we do have 5th of December, 28th of January, I think, are the next booked dates.
Excellent. And remember, folks, just always enjoy your wrestling and don't feed the trolls.